take a slow breath before we begin. Not because you have to do anything special, but because there is nowhere else you need to be right now. This moment is enough. And when you allow yourself to truly relax into it, something remarkable begins to happen. Most people believe manifestation requires effort, struggle, and constant thinking. They believe they must chase, control, or force life to cooperate. But life does not respond to tension. It responds to alignment. And alignment begins when you relax. Think about the times you were most at peace. Maybe it was sitting quietly at night, driving with no destination, or laughing without thinking. In those moments, you weren't trying to become anything. You were simply being. And often, those are the moments when clarity arrives unexpectedly. Stress is the voice of the ego saying something is wrong right now. The ego survives on urgency. It believes peace must be earned later, after the problem is solved. But awareness knows something different. Awareness knows that peace comes first, and from peace, solutions arise naturally. When you are tense, your mind narrows. Fear takes over. You replay conversations, worry about outcomes, and doubt your worth. Your body tightens. Your breath shortens. In that state, you are disconnected from your deeper intelligence, the quiet wisdom that already knows what to do. Relaxation is not laziness. It is trust. It is the willingness to stop fighting the moment and allow life to meet you halfway. Consider a common example: relationships. When someone desperately wants love, approval, or validation, they often push too hard or hold too tightly. The irony is that the more relaxed and self-accepting a person becomes, the more naturally others are drawn to them. Not because of strategy, but because peace is attractive. Calm is magnetic. The same applies to purpose. Many people feel lost because they are straining to figure it all out. But purpose is not something you chase. It is something you uncover when you stop resisting where you are. When the mind quiets, intuition speaks. Relaxation creates space. And in that space, intention becomes clear. Intention is not forcing a future image onto life. It is gently choosing the feeling you wish to experience: peace, contribution, joy, and allowing actions to flow from that feeling. When intention is calm, it carries power. When it is desperate, it carries fear. Notice how nature works. A tree does not strain to grow. A river does not rush to arrive. They move with an inner certainty, and yet everything unfolds exactly as it should. You are part of that same intelligence. When you relax, you shift from trying to control life to cooperating with life. You stop arguing with what is and start listening to what's next. Manifestation then becomes less about getting and more about allowing. So today, begin simply. Soften your shoulders. Slow your breath. Let go of the need to prove, fix, or hurry. Remind yourself nothing valuable is missing in this moment. As you relax, you remember who you are: not a frightened ego struggling to survive, but an aware presence learning to trust the flow of life. And from that state, everything you desire begins to move toward you naturally. Relax your breath again, gently, as if you are reminding your body that it is safe to be here. The need to control life often comes from a quiet fear that without effort, everything will fall apart. But this fear does not belong to your true self. It belongs to the ego, the part of the mind that believes it must manage everything to be worthy, secure, and loved. The ego is not bad. It is simply frightened. It learned early on that approval, success, and safety seemed uncertain. So it built habits of worry, comparison, and constant planning. The ego says, if I don't think about this, it won't work out. And so the mind stays busy, tense, and tired. Awareness, however, sees through this. Awareness understands that life has been unfolding long before you learn to worry. Your heart beats without instruction. Your breath moves without permission. There is an intelligence already at work within you, and it does not need to be managed. Control is exhausting because it asks you to do the impossible, to predict, and command a world that is always changing. When you try to control outcomes, you tighten your grip on life, and the tighter the grip, the less freely life can move through you. Consider stress at work. You may replay meetings in your mind, worry about what others think, or fear making mistakes. The ego believes that tension equals responsibility. But notice something important. When you are calm, you think more clearly. When you are relaxed, you respond more wisely. Relaxation does not reduce effectiveness, it enhances it. Letting go of control does not mean giving up. It means shifting from force to trust. Think about a time when something worked out better than you expected. Often it happened when you stopped pushing and allowed space for things to align. That is not coincidence. That is life responding to openness. The ego fears uncertainty, but awareness welcomes it. Uncertainty is not danger, it is possibility. When you relax your need to know every step, you allow intuition to guide you. Intuition does not shout, it whispers. And it can only be heard in stillness. Self-doubt is another expression of control. The ego asks, am I enough? And searches for proof. But awareness knows that worth is not earned, it is inherent. You do not need to justify your existence. You are already authorized to be here. Relaxing the ego means noticing its thoughts without obeying them. You may hear, this won't work, or you're falling behind. Instead of fighting these thoughts, simply observe them. When observed, they lose power. When believed, they create tension. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. As you release the need to control, you return to a deeper partnership with life. You act when action is needed, rest when rest is needed, and trust the space in between. From this place, intention becomes lighter and clearer. Manifestation does not come from tightening your grip on the future. It comes from loosening your grip on fear. So today, practice surrender in small ways. Allow delays without resistance. Accept imperfections without judgment. Let life show you that you are supported even when you stop trying so hard. The more you relax the ego, the more effortlessly life begins to cooperate with you. Settle into stillness again, not by effort, but by allowing. There is a quiet presence beneath your thoughts that has always been here. It watches without judgment. It listens without needing to respond. This presence is awareness, and awareness is the foundation of all true change. Most suffering begins when we believe every thought the mind produces. The mind is a tool, but it is not the master. It is designed to analyze, remember, and plan. Yet, when it runs without awareness, it creates stories of fear, lack, and separation. Awareness steps in and gently says, I see this thought, but I am not this thought. This shift changes everything. When you become aware, you stop living on autopilot. You notice how tension enters your body when fear arises. You notice how the mind rushes to conclusions. And in noticing, you create space. Space is where freedom lies. Take a moment to reflect on stress. Stress is rarely about what is happening. It is about what we believe might happen. The body reacts to imagined futures as if they are real. Awareness brings you back to now. And in the present moment, most of your fears are not actually happening. This is why relaxing is so powerful. Relaxation brings you into awareness. Awareness dissolves fear. In relationships, awareness allows you to respond rather than react. Instead of defending, proving, or withdrawing, you pause, you listen, you recognize that the other person is also operating from their own fears and conditioning. Compassion naturally arises when awareness replaces judgment. Awareness also softens self-doubt. When a thought says, I'm not good enough, awareness notices the thought without attaching identity to it. You no longer ask, is this true? You simply see, this is a thought passing through. And like all thoughts, it will pass. Manifestation begins with awareness because what you are aware of expands. When you are constantly aware of lack, struggle, and urgency, you reinforce them. When you become aware of peace, gratitude, and possibility, life begins to mirror the inner state. This is not magical thinking. It is psychological and spiritual alignment. Your nervous system responds to your inner focus. When you relax and shift awareness toward calm, your actions become clearer, your decisions wiser, and your energy more open. Purpose becomes visible through awareness as well. Purpose is not a distant destination. It is revealed through presence. When you are fully aware in the moment, listening deeply, serving sincerely, acting honestly, you are already living your purpose. The future unfolds naturally from that state. Awareness also teaches patience. Life unfolds in rhythms. Forcing outcomes disrupts those rhythms. When you trust awareness, you stop rushing the process. You allow growth to happen organically, like seasons changing. Notice how awareness feels. It is spacious, gentle, unhurried. There is no pressure to become something else. From this space, intention arises effortlessly, not as a demand, but as a quiet preference. So practice awareness today. Notice your breath. Notice your thoughts. Notice your reactions without judging them. Each moment of awareness loosens the grip of fear and strengthens the connection to your deeper self. You do not need to fix yourself. You only need to see yourself clearly. And as awareness deepens, relaxation follows naturally. From that relaxed awareness, life begins to align in ways that feel purposeful, supportive, and deeply right. Take another slow, easy breath and let the body soften. Intention works best when it is free of strain. When intention is tight, it carries fear. When it is relaxed, it carries trust. This distinction is subtle, yet it changes the entire experience of manifestation. Many people confuse intention with expectation. Expectation says, this must happen, or I will be disappointed. Intention says, this is what I prefer, and I trust life to guide me. One contracts the heart. The other opens it. When intention is guided by awareness, it becomes an inner direction rather than an external demand. You are not asking life to prove your worth. You are simply choosing how you want to feel and aligning your actions with that feeling. Think about self-doubt. When someone sets an intention from self-doubt, it often sounds like, I need this to work so I can finally feel okay. That creates pressure. But when intention comes from calm awareness, it sounds like, I choose to move toward what feels meaningful, and I will learn from whatever unfolds. Life responds to the second with ease. Intention is not about controlling outcomes. It is about cooperating with possibility. You plant a seed not by digging it up every day to see if it's growing, but by trusting the process and providing the right conditions. Those conditions are inner peace, clarity, and openness. In daily life, this shows up in simple ways. At work, instead of forcing productivity through stress, you set an intention to be present and focused. You notice how much more efficiently things flow when the mind is not scattered by fear. In relationships, instead of intending to change someone, you intend to show up with honesty and kindness. That alone shifts the dynamic. People feel it. They respond to it. Fear often enters when we believe that outcomes define us, but awareness knows that you are not your results. You are the consciousness experiencing them. When you release the need for validation, intention becomes clean and powerful. There is also wisdom in allowing life to surprise you. Some of the most meaningful experiences arrive in forms we did not plan. When you are relaxed, you can recognize them. When you are rigid, you miss them. Relaxed intention invites synchronicity. You meet the right person at the right moment. You hear the right words when you need them. These moments feel natural, not forced. They are the result of alignment rather than effort. This does not mean you stop taking action. It means action flows from inspiration instead of anxiety. You move when it feels right. You pause when clarity is needed. You trust the rhythm. To practice this, begin each day by setting a gentle intention, not for what you want to get, but for how you want to be. Calm, open, present. Let that intention guide your choices. When challenges arise, return to relaxation. Ask yourself, what would awareness do here? Often the answer is simpler than the ego expects. You are not here to battle life. You are here to participate in it consciously. As you release tension from intention, you discover that manifestation is not about bending reality to your will. It is about aligning your will with a deeper intelligence that already knows the way. And when you trust that intelligence, life unfolds with a sense of ease that feels both natural and deeply fulfilling. Take a moment to feel your breath again, steady and gentle. Notice how much effort it takes to simply allow it. None at all. This is how life is meant to be lived, not through constant resistance, but through trust. Fear is not the enemy. It is a signal from the ego that it feels separate and unsupported. But awareness knows the truth. You are never disconnected from life. You are within it. And it is within you. When you live from fear, every decision feels heavy. You question yourself. You hesitate. You seek reassurance from the outside world. Fear whispers that something is always missing. And that peace is conditional. But trust says something very different. Trust says, I am supported, even when I don't see the whole picture. Trust does not mean blind belief. It means recognizing that life has carried you this far without your constant control. Even your challenges have shaped you, guided you, and revealed strength you didn't know you had. Think about moments when you felt lost. Looking back, you may see that those moments redirected you towards something more aligned. Fear couldn't see that at the time, but awareness can see it now. Living from trust changes how you experience the world. You listen more deeply. You react less. You allow silence without filling it with worry. You stop chasing certainty and begin appreciating presence. This is where manifestation becomes effortless, not because you stop caring, but because you stop clinging. You act from clarity instead of desperation. You allow life to meet you where you are. Self-worth deepens in this state. You no longer measure yourself by comparison or achievement. You understand that your value does not rise or fall with circumstances. You are valuable because you are conscious, alive, and aware. Purpose also becomes simpler. You stop asking, what am I supposed to do with my life? And start asking, how can I show up fully in this moment? Purpose reveals itself through sincerity, service, and presence. When fear arises, and it will notice it with compassion. Do not judge it. Gently remind yourself that fear is a habit, not a truth. Return to the body. Return to the breath. Return to awareness. Relaxation is your doorway back to trust. As you relax, your nervous system calms. Your perception widens. You begin to see options instead of obstacles. Gratitude naturally replaces urgency. Life feels less like a struggle and more like a conversation. This is the deeper meaning of manifestation. It is not about attracting things to complete you. It is about remembering your completeness and allowing life to reflect it back to you. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force. You do not need to become someone else. Relax and allow yourself to be guided. From this place of calm awareness, trust unfolds naturally. And when trust leads, life responds with opportunities, connections, and experiences that feel meaningful and aligned. Remain here often. This is where clarity lives. This is where peace becomes your default. And from here, everything you truly desire finds its way to you quietly, effortlessly, and right on time.